Hi guys, welcome back to Rev Solution. Today's video, I'm just going to show you how I changed the track rod ends on my BMW. Now, originally this car, when I bought it, was just tracking all over the place. I'd really struggled to keep it in a straight line. For instance, my steering wheel will be over at an angle, the wheels feel like they're deviating with every little part of the road that isn't straight or flat. So I knew something was wrong. What I did was I went down to a garage and I got them to check the wheel balancing. That was the first thing I went to. If the wheel balancing was fine, I'd then move on to the tracking. If that was fine, I'd then start looking at other parts that could potentially not be working as they should be. So, having been to the garage and I told them what the problem was, and that's why I wanted the tracking done, they said, okay, we'll sort the, sorry, not the tracking, the wheel balancing, we'll sort the wheel balancing out, and then we'll also have a look and see if there's anything else amiss. Thankfully, I did tell them the reason I came down, because quite quickly they discovered that the track rod end, the actual boot on the track rod had completely split, and the track rod was not sitting where it should be. So that needed replacing. And then they went on to find the wishbone at the back, at the rear of the wishbone, the actual bush it sits into that is mounted to the chassis, that was completely worn out. And I'll show you in the video how difficult how easy it was to actually wiggle that boot inside the bush. It was just a complete disaster. So this first video is going to be on the track rod ends. I'll then release another video in a couple of days about the actual wishbone bush that needed doing. Now what I always do is put the wheel underneath the car just in case the axle stand or the trolley jack give way. Right, so what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to crack open this nut at the top and loosen off this nut just here. So with a lot of heat blasting into the track rod end, I managed to get it done, and it's slowly undoing. And there it is, it's off. So all I need to do now is get the new one and put it on. So that was 14 turn offs that I done on that, and it's off. Now the next thing that needs to be done is to put the nut in. This just slides back in nice and easy. If it doesn't, you can just wiggle the hub about, and then inside there is like an Allen key hex, so you can stop the bolt pin from spinning and then just tighten it up. Obviously get the right torque setting, and once that is done you can go ahead and nip these up. I measured it, it's 31mm from the end of this rod to the start of the thread, so I've gone 31mm and about 14 turns to get it back into the similar location. However, obviously this will need re-tracking, so I'm going to have to book it in to get it all tracked up again. I may have to replace the drop link, the anti-roll bar as well, because that looks like it's worn a little bit there. That could be a job for another day. Alright, so once you've loosened it, you've then just got to give it a good set of twists. Make sure that you remember how many you've done. And there we go. Absolutely destroyed. Look at that. And apparently that passed an MOT a couple of months ago. Definitely a dodgy MOT. So we got the new one and the old one. You see the difference in those. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to take the nut off. Going to apply a little bit of copper grease inside. So got the copper grease inside, just keep it from sticking too much, so at least when they come to do the tracking they'll be able to adjust it. Now make sure you don't lose that collar, because that collar is going to put a bit of tension on here, so we need to keep that. So that'll go back on first, and if you can remember what the amount of turns were, count. Unlike me, I've completely forgot, so I'm just going to push it back up and then measure it. I had 31mm from the top thread to the top of here, so as long as I've got 31mm I'll be okay. There you go, I'm happy with that. That's 31mm, so that is where it's going to be going. I'll put the ball joint back in. What you want to do is get a Allen key socket, pop that on, get your 19mm spanner, tighten it up. Once that's all tightened, then you can move back onto the nut over here and you can tighten that one up. That's a 24mm. And there you go. That's all done. That should move nicely with the steering rack. It's got a nice amount of play there. And it moves. So thank you for watching Rev Solution. I hope that video showed you a rough idea of how to change a track rod end. It was completely seized up. I just could not get it undone, so I had to break out the blowtorch and absolutely saturate it in heat, and it expanded the metal nicely, and I was able to get the track rod end off quite comfortably. If you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button, give me a big thumbs up, and until next time, take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.